Hello everyone, it's Guardian Mo's back online. So should the UK ban the burqa? I think this topic has kind of resurfaced into kind of mainstream news ever since Sarah Puchin made that question appear in Parliament. You know, for the interest of public safety, would the government consider banning the burqa in the UK? Now, Italy, under George Maloney, has already decided that it will implement a blanket ban on the burqa, and even Portugal as well is following suit. So the question remains, should the UK, under, you know, an advanced UK government or a reform government, should we actually ban the burqa? If you ask me, if you ask anyone on our side of the movement, I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer. Banning the burqa, anything that represents a kind of undermining of the inherent value of a woman, has no place in an historically Christian country and society. You know, Christianity is the kind of undergirding foundation behind this country, and for practices that don't represent British culture to remain to be present in this country and to take place so kind of ubiquitously across the country. You see, you know, women wearing burqas and hijabs and niqabs all over the country, rolling their strollers and their prams out and about on the streets. This is not something that should take place, not just for the sake of national security. You know, covering your whole face, that is kind of a threat to safety on the streets and safety, you know, public safety in general. But also, it's just like, it's not representative of a kind of Christian-based society. These kinds of religious practices, they just have no place in the UK. But putting that aside, we just have to actually, I really want to make this video talking about the holistic approach to this, because we have to think about the ramifications behind banning the burqa. Banning the burqa is just one singular political decision that leads to ramifications in which we don't actually know how they will manifest, because we have to look at this deeply in a lot more deep kind of in a more deeply nuanced fashion, because banning burqa is only one aspect behind this whole huge set of problems. The undergirding problem, the rabbit hole which this could kind of lead you down under, is the proliferation of Islamic ideology. The problem of Islam that has proliferated and is laying dominance, laying its claim in the UK and across the Western world. That's what we really need to think about. Think of it like this way. Think of it as if Islam is like a plant. If you ban the burqa, you're just nipping a singular leaf or a branch off of this huge plant that has laid its claim, in this country. All you have to do is tackle the root of the problem. And in order to tackle the root of the problem, we have to find out just what is causing all of the problems in this country, in our institutions. Islam has been making its long march through the institutions over decades and decades, for over a long period of time, through our education system, through our workplaces. You know, unconscious bias. If you see someone wearing a hijab or a niqab, unconscious bias, you can't discriminate them, and it's run its course through our judicial system as well. You know, the Public Order Act of 1986 has been hijacked, so that essentially, if you find your way to discriminate against members of this particular religion, you've heard it 1,000 times, you are causing them harassment, alarm, distress. So all of our institutions, be it the education system, our judicial system, and also our workplaces and companies as well, they're all hijacked. So we have to backtrack and reverse all of these damages that have been made to our institutions that have a lot of significance in British society. But that's a decades-long project. That's going to take a very, very long time to solve. It's not an overnight thing. You can't just flip the switch overnight and turn everything 180 degrees and make this, and to reinstate our constitutional Christian foundations and apply it ubiquitously across the UK. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take years and years. But what we can do overnight is make these political decisions, like banning burqa, but not just banning burqa. Ban cousin marriages. I'd ban the burqa, ban cousin marriages, ban polygamy, ban all of these religious practices that are associated with Islam that have no place in the UK. So it's almost like we're snipping away twigs, leaves and branches from this whole plant that is representative of Islam, so that we can weaken the kind of dominance, the power and the significance that Islam has in this country. Ban halal slaughter, ban the sale and redistribution of halal meat in supermarkets and schools. You know, Swansea council have already declared that all their schools exclusively provide halal meat to their students. That's completely unacceptable. We have to reverse that. We have to make, on day one of Advanced UK coming to government, we have to make these blanket bans on halal meat, the burqa, all of these things. And you know, a reform government isn't going to do that, because the way that Sarah Puchin addressed that question in Parliament, for the sake of national security, I'm sorry, that's not going to cut it. We have to hit it head on. The problem lies in Islam. It has no place in the UK, full stop, period. So we have to snip away at all of these religious practices, and we have to apply these kinds of, let's just say, prohibitions on Islamic religious practices in the UK in a holistic, homogenous manner, so that we're tackling all of these problems on from all angles. And then also what we have to do is, there are unintended ramifications that could result from banning these kinds of religious practices. There's going to be civil outrage, unrest coming from the Muslim community. That's going to happen inevitably. We can't stop that. And so an advanced UK government has to take precautionary precautionary measures in order to counteract those kind of negative implications that could come as a result of implementing these kinds of bans, these kinds of political decisions. So that's my thoughts on banning the burqa. It's not just about banning burqa, it's about tackling the problem of Islam that needs to be solved in a homogenous manner, that there needs to be a real stringent, coherent strategy as to how we're going to root to kind of dig that root of the problem of Islam out of the British soil. So that's kind of my way of approaching this. Those are my thoughts. Leave your comments down below. Scardy Most clocking out. Thanks for tuning in.